go.
You didn't hit the button yet, did you?
I did hit the button. So, there we go. We're live. I'm Pat.
Hey, everyone. I'm Jeffrey.
Hi, Jeffrey. How are you tonight?
I'm just fine. Construction's done on my house. I've been able to get back to sleep at normal hours.
I thought that was supposed to be done last Friday. Was it done a little bit this week?
No, it was finished up last week, but I'm just talking about the small things that I'm taking joy in my life from, is just not having banging on the house and just that unpleasantness.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We're probably going to do some more work on our house this summer.
What? What do you got?
I think it's time to bash my kitchen out and replace it. So, yeah, new floors. I got a guy.
But
I don't have a kitchen guy, but I do have a floor guy.
But doesn't that mean that you'll have to rip up the cool stuff you and your dad put down?
My brother and I did that. So, our $300 floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which if you're wearing like, okay, so like I have these pair of like slippers that I've always worn for years. They're the ones that, what are they? They're like Timberline ones or something like that.
Okay.
You would recognize them immediately because everybody has them.
Do they have like a little puffy point where your feet go in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then a hard rubber sole on the bottom of them. All right. So on my floor, if I'm going too fast and I come to a skid stop, all right, the floor itself actually moves.
Okay.
Yeah, it needs to be replaced. So now normally this isn't an issue. It's held down by furniture. There are a couple spots where you can actually you can slide some of the boards around. So
okay, I get it. There are some families where it is sort of like heresy to undo or redo a project done by family.
no, not me. No. Yeah.
I'm not one of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying like you've offended me and my people.
Right. And your people.
Yeah. You will no longer celebrate your holidays with us, white man.
Right, yeah. Get out of Village 7.
Yeah, something like that. But there are some places like, yeah, but don't you remember when we did this?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things in my house that my dad did, but most of it, I did it. So I did all my floors. I did all my bathrooms. He painted a couple rooms. So, but that's fine. So
Painting's not the arduous task that I make it out to be.
no, it's not.
It's not so grueling to where I can't justify like doing it because it's like I don't have the and it takes so long to dry, and it's not.
No, painting's silly, man. So I've done so much painting in my life. So I even got one of those rollers that it's like a super soaker.
Oh, okay.
So you put it in the pan, and it's got a stick that you open up.
Yeah. The push it.
Yeah, they work great.
Yeah.
So they work really, really well. Yeah, I've got all that kit. That's like one of the few things that I've actually got covered in my house tool-wise. Mm-hmm. Although I actually have more tools than I used to have. So come to think of it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because you have a chop saw, don't you? Or did you give that back to your mother?
My brother has it, I believe.
Your brother has it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a chop saw. I got a table saw for some reason that I've never used.
Well, that was a gift from your father. Though.
Well, yeah, because he bought a nicer one. So
there you go.
Yeah. And then we sold that nicer one at a garage sale after he died.
Really?
Yeah. So
what'd you get for him?
I don't know. It was my mom's. So probably not near as much what it was worth. It was more like get all this shit out of my house kind of sale.
Yeah, the problem though is I could have easily made a bid on that.
Yeah?
Yeah. I shouldn't.
You can borrow mine if you need it. So It'll fit in the back of the truck. It's not as heavy as you think it is.
No, I understand it, and the fact is, Patrick, I don't do as much lumbering that you'd think I would.
Trim carpentry? You're not doing a lot of trim carpentry?
I'd actually like to do some trim carpentry, but then again, the chop saw will handle that fine. I just,
Usually, yeah.
Say like, hey, William, like, set that to 45-degree angles and hit this.
Right.
Right. I can just go over there with one piece of trim, come out, and be like, all right, we're done. Fine. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. But yeah, so it's just the fact that the opportunity would be there. Like, how often do I have the chance to get a table saw?
I don't know. They're not that expensive.
Are they more than $100?
Yeah, they're more than $100.
They're more than $1,000.
They're not. I mean, you probably find one that's more than $1,000, but I don't know why you'd spend that much.
Yeah, that's true. There are some tools where you look at the list of things, or you go on Amazon or something, and you're like 200, 25,000.
I seem to recall looking at Bitcoin and mining equipment. It was kind of along those lines.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
It was like, oh, this must be the good one. It can only be paid for in Bitcoin. He was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Is sometimes you're just looking at like cordless drills. And,
oh, right, yeah. It was like, where did they make this one? Switzerland,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. And you're looking at it. It's like 60, 70. Oh, I'll tell you where I got hit with that.
Okay.
I was looking at wood chippers.
Oh, I remember when you were doing your project.
Yeah, I was looking at wood chippers because I always have branches, right? Mm-hmm. And I cannot stand to break down branches to put in the trash.
That sucks.
I hate it so much. As a matter of fact, like at this point, I'm honestly considering just digging a hole in the backyard.
And a burn pit?
Okay, that's even better. I was just going to be like, we're just going to return it to the earth. We're going to bury it, and what happens, happens.
Yeah, either that or you just dedicate like one corner to your yard as basically like, where all those things exist. You just stack them up. So
that's Collier's Mansion shit. That's like
Collier's Mansion?
Yeah, let's go ahead. That would be like those old people whose houses are stacked to the brim with old Time magazines and newspapers, right? Yeah. So that if somebody drops one of the 600 candles that they have lit at any given time, the place...
All right, yeah, that's a terrible idea.
Just explodes in seconds. And, if I go to the corner, it's like, what have you been doing? It's like, well, this is a dry kindling pile, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
this is my fuel pile.
Exactly. Yeah. And so let's suppose that one stray cigarette butt flies over
your fence, yeah, and lands in your stack of rocket fuel. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a rough summer, man.
How do you know?
I'm just gonna tell you that right off the bat. This summer, there's gonna be fire. Something's gonna burn down. So there were fires when I was driving up from down south the other day. There were fires out there all over Fort Carson and stuff. Of course, the Army lights things on fire on purpose, but not typically the base. But man, even like the other day when I was driving down there, had a bona fide thunderstorm on the way there. Okay, and there was a fire. So,
like during?
Well, the thunderstorm was coming right for the fire, so this fire wasn't going to be there much longer.
Oh, okay.
But nonetheless, there was another one, and so, usually I don't see those until the fall. This year I've seen at least 3 or 4 of them on my way down there. So...
Yeah, but that being said, the other day we had a full-blown, rainstorm.
We did. Yeah.
And so maybe... I guess I would lean toward I'd prefer a little bit wetter summer than
I would too.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's in the cards though, man. We'll see.
I don't know.
So
you're saying fire, and my gut instinct says, I'm hoping it's moisture. I'm hoping that when you roll the 1d20 of climate change effects that we get
a natural 20.
Is wet just 20 and above?
I don't know.
What do I have to get? Do I have to roll better than 17 to have a wet summer?
Yeah. So you should do 3d6 on this one, though. It kind of like gives you the nice bell curve.
Well, okay, so how many possible outcomes do we really have? What are the...
Well, with climate change,
Well, I mean, in terms of what we could expect for the summer, what would be the...
could be really fucking hot.
Okay, so, all right, we've got really fucking hot.
Yeah.
I don't know how many numbers that entails, but we've got really hot. What are the other possible outcomes?
It could be wet. We had a wet one a couple years ago.
Okay, wet.
Yeah.
And I suppose the other would be mild.
Yeah, kind of somewhere in between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. 1d20. I'm gonna give wet a 3 or below on that. So I'm gonna give like mild a 12 and below, and then or 12 to 3, and then I'd say 14 or 13 all the way up to 20. It's gonna be fucking hot. So that's just how I'd put odds on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I don't know. I'm just kind of hoping for that. I don't want to...
That would be nice if it was nice and wet. I remember, a few years ago. Well, this was a long while ago. Because when I first installed my yard, it happened to be during a summer that was really nice and wet. We got like rainstorms every afternoon for like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we haven't had one like that in a while. So, and my yard looks like it now, man. It's fucking rough. So, I don't think it's gonna come back this year. Yeah, you don't have an HOA cruising around, putting notes in your mailbox.
Jesus Christ. You want to talk
They
about
don't do
people
that,
I just
but-
would not get along with.
An HOA?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think your neighborhood originally had an HOA, but it fell apart.
Political infighting.
It was something like that. You know, you
Assassination
couldn't get
attempt.
so it had to do with kicking out the Trotskyites or something.
Well, I mean... When you're over there, like, looking at trying to find, like, a Cassius belly to get, Greg out.
Yeah, I'm fabricating a claim on his land.
Yeah, and then they come up with something and they say, like, oh, I'm sorry, you have left vehicles parked for over 6 months.
Yeah. So I live in that little cul-de-sac, man. People across the street, it's actually a co-op owned house between like 3 or 4 different families.
How does that work?
I have no idea how it works, man. So what it means is that typically during most of the winter months, the house is unoccupied.
Really?
Yeah, and then now it means that there's probably about 8 cars that aren't usually in the cul-de-sac, racked up all over the place, including blocking part of my front yard off. Which I don't care. I know the mailman probably thinks that's ass, so
But that's on the mailman to talk to them about.
right. And and so like our thing, since it's a private street, there's no sidewalks in it.
Yeah, that's right.
Which
It's
is nice.
weird.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty typical for like any kind of private neighborhood. I don't have to shovel them, so that's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But you have to have at least one side of the street that's closed off to parking at all times.
Was that a fire thing?
It's a fire thing. That's right. And so these guys, I know that the HOA, which has resurged lately, thanks to some political infighting and replacements of more lazy people.
Do tell.
I don't know. I tried to get on it. I tried to get on it again so that I could actually, prevent them from having a quorum at any meeting.
Who are the families fighting for power right now?
I don't know. Well, one of them are the people who live next door to me. I think she's a stay-at-home mom, and the guy is kind of weird. So, but I mean, he's all right. I just,
Weird how? That's such a loaded term.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to think about that one a little
like
bit.
racist?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe like recovering Mormon or something. Kind of like I don't know.
Wow, deprogrammed?
Maybe. Yeah, he does seem a little bit deprogrammed. And so, but like the guy's substantially younger than I am, and he takes care of his house like he's an 80-year-old man. So like, and when I used to live over here, man, so I lived in that neighborhood with all the fucking retirees, and they'd be out there with scissors cutting their fucking weeds. And no way he could compete with any of those people, man. So this guy's kind of there. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily weird because, you just take care of your shit and stuff, but
It depends. It's what you're talking about is kind of. I've said this to you before. This is where I've said like Gary is a really weird baby's name.
This got one eyebrow, yeah.
Yeah, this is it's an adult name, but you just don't call a baby that. And this is the same thing
Right.
where occasionally you find somebody that's young that has an old people hobby, and it's weird.
Yeah, like tying your own flies or something.
Right, right.
Stamp collecting.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah, and even stamp collecting is kind of out with most people because I think I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of that just like maybe there's just not as much personality with stamps or history, the stickers, but yeah, exactly like you said, like tying your own flies or just really things that like old people do. It's
Right.
like I hate to say this because I know you enjoy these things, but that would be like kids doing like N-scale trains.
Oh, yeah.
At the age of 8.
Well, that's actually a little bit more normal. I think finding someone who's 30 and plays with model trains is kind of weird.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, little kids really do like them. But you grow out of that as soon as, like, you discover boobs. And then, then it's over for the next 30 years.
Oh, okay. So if you're saying that it's for like 10 and 60, okay, that I understand. Because you are not the only person I've known. I've known a lot of people who say that this is where I'm going to put my trains.
Right, yeah. Right, yeah. It's a hobby that you never really engage with until you do so to, an extent where you kind of like get at it a little bit and then you leave it there for a couple of years. And,
yeah.
So it's not like gardening where you fuck it up if you don't pay attention to it.
Right, yeah. Or that same kind of thing. Like when you see a kid who's really into gardening.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know really what it is about him, but I think his wife got on the HOA board. I put my name and nobody voted for me, so I was like, thanks.
Did you campaign?
I don't think you're supposed to campaign. If you are supposed to campaign, then obviously somebody wanted it more than I do. Because I just wanted to get on the board so that I could deny him quorum and he couldn't make any decisions.
But that's the issue, is if you just put your name on the thing, then how is anybody supposed to know?
Well, they send it out, and these are the guys you vote for. So,
But how are they supposed to know it's you?
I don't know. I know enough people in the neighborhood where I assume they know it's me, but it's not that many houses. It's only like 20-some. Yeah.
Well, that's 20 people you should have talked to.
Well, actually, a lot of the neighbors that I did know they did move out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we didn't have our drunken parties in my neighbor's garage anymore.
Oh, right.
Right. Yeah, we used to call that house peer pressure house.
Rightly so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, every time you walk by his driveway, he'd be up there watching TV. He's guy had his full blown couch, like fucking wraparound system, this ginormous TV hanging in his garage. So it is very much so a Charlie garage, And there was always a bucket of beer, and then whatever he decided to get at the liquor store that day. And he was like, "Hey, you want to do a shot?" Every time you walk by, man. So,
Was he offering shots while in the service of making something else?
Usually, yeah. He always had food. His wife was actually a fantastic Mexican cook. So she was white, but she could actually make amazing Mexican food. So,
yeah, it's funny you say that. I feel like that shouldn't preclude you, but in some ways, I don't know.
Dude, her food was amazing. And so, but they were always, like making up a new batch of salsa or something.
No, I was like, if they're offering you shots, that's in service of like, they're making Moscow mules or...
Oh, no, they didn't do that. Moscow. I don't think I've ever even had a Moscow mule in my entire life. With the little bronze cup or copper cup.
I know it. I don't know if... I might have.
I can't think of a time where I actually had any.
Okay, do those have milk in them?
I don't know. It's possible. So our non-audience is probably screaming at us right now.
Oh yeah, you guys are so stupid.
So stupid.
It's like, yeah, I'm not dumb. It could be milk. Like it could be like radium. I don't know. No, because I remember. I mean, I know that we've like tried to make we tried to make like certain drinks that we thought were awesome, like the stuff with the blue Caraco, and we just ended up pouring that in the fucking gutter and things like that. So I know there are things been tried, but I don't know if that was ever one of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was that crap that was it White Russians that?
Oh yeah, with Kahlua.
Yeah,
Kahlua,
that Stretch used to drink.
Yeah, Stretch.
Yeah,
that shit was he
the
threw
Colombo?
up all over my Colombo. Yeah, threw up all over my mom's carpet. So she was so pissed. She had just
because that carpet was like 4 days old.
if that, man. So it still stank a little bit. She was so mad. But yeah, I do remember he used to make those. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, the only person I can imagine making those are the people who drink, 6,000 calories of eggnog as a sitting. So,
Oh God, man, that's so nasty.
bro, like there are certain things that just even the thoughts of drinking this stuff just turns my stomach. And so, like, if I were to go to the liquor store right now and just walk past the schnapps aisle,
Oh yeah,
it just turned my stomach.
no,
It's
yeah,
like,
can't do schnapps. So rum, can't do rum. Can't do anything with rum in it. So yeah. Oh well, I know my poisons now. I color within my own lines.
yeah, fair enough. No, I totally understand that. It's just, I don't know. There was I guess when I was younger, that super flavorful fucking aftershock or whatever would be like awesome, but
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, doing all kinds of weird stuff. I remember Aftershock. I remember
Rumplements and
yeah,
Hot Damn and
Jaeger.
I think the stuff that was butterscotch was just called butterscotch, like butterscotch schnapps, and there was like a root beer one,
Goldschlager.
Yeah, cactus juice.
Cactus juice. Yeah, I can't drink any of those anymore, man. So too old. Yeah.
Well, am I just wrong on this? Like, was schnapps just always meant to be like mixed with something, or
No, it's supposed. They're shooters. They're supposed to get you fucked up. So yeah. From at least what I understand. So, having never been to Germany, but I don't know. My in-laws have turned into cognac people. So,
You told me that, yeah.
yeah, you get the big old fucking jug of Hennessy, and I mean, you're talking a thing that's like this fucking tall.
I think I still have some of the VSOP.
Yeah, oh, do you? Yeah. Cavassier?
Yeah.
Oh my god, man! I don't think that gets better with age. I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure, but it's fine. I didn't love it.
No, I've never been a huge fan of brandy. So
I mean, I do get the appeal,
or
but
cognac. Yeah.
yeah, I do get the appeal, but it's just not one of those. It doesn't land well with me.
No. Yeah, I tried when I stayed with them that one week, and after one night of that, I was like, nah. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose you could get hammered off it, but that stuff.
Oh,
really,
you can get hammered off it.
yeah, but I mean, to me, the taste was always enough to slow you down.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I agree.
Whereas, say, like, we got blitzed on scotch quite a few times.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that goes down way easier.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's my thing is bourbon, man. I can drink bourbon all day. And so.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, what did we were making greyhounds down there, actually, when I went down there.
What's a greyhound?
It's vodka and, grapefruit juice. Really good. So really, really good.
Gotcha. But why greyhounds? Where's that?
I don't know why it's called that. That's just what they call them. I don't know. So like a vodka and orange juice is a screwdriver. Yeah, I like screwdrivers too, but man, you drink enough of those, you get sick. So it's just too sweet. So
I mean, the only question is, have you ever gotten racked up by screwdrivers? And if you have, then
you know
had
it.
enough.
Yeah, you know you're good. Yeah. So
No, I could see that vodka and grapefruit juice.
yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I get less picky the older that I get.
See, I see that as going one of two ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you either your taste gauge opens up or it shuts down.
Okay.
Right? And given the way that you were talking about things the other day, I think you're going to be a shutdown kind of old guy.
Shut down.
Yeah, because like when you were like they're not warning signs, Patrick. I'm not concerned for you.
Oh no, I'm not saying that being the shutdown guy is a bad thing.
No, but there's a thing where you catch these guys, right? And I'm not saying you're that guy yet, but you could be. With these certain guys, and you go in their car, and they're playing some music, and it's clear that nothing they're listening to came out after their sophomore year of college.
yeah.
And you're kind of listening to that goddamn Don Henley song, or the Eagles or whatever, and you're like, okay, to you, musical perfection reached this, and because you didn't push it at all, there's like a gap.
Yeah.
And then when you try to listen to something, you don't hear the evolution of where things went. You just hear that this was Middle English, and then you hear like modern English, but you don't hear all of the basically like the Shakespearean dialect in between.
Oh, okay.
Or shall I say Old English, and then you skip Middle English to go to modern English. If you skip Middle English and you just went from like reading the hieroglyphics that Chaucer was writing, where wife is spelled W-Y-F.
Wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it goes for like music. And you were talking about that like with movies, and you know.
I'm definitely that way with movies. I'm not that bad with music. I actually do listen to the radio quite a bit. At least when I'm commuting, and it's always like, okay, so what's new? And unfortunately, music just doesn't change that quickly as much as it did before. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, but yeah, it's incredibly diverse now, but it's hard to listen to anything that I would call like consensus music.
There's a few, so like the station I was, I think it's Peak FM or something like that. It's like, you know, kind of top 40 bullshit and stuff. Yeah. You know, and like the thing about it is I've been listening to it long enough now where I know almost all the songs, because there's a few of them that, you know, they're still on the list, and they go back almost a decade at this point in time, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, the actual pop music chart, it's not really changed. There's not really that many new artists, you know?
It's the same dudes kicking it around.
Yeah, it's the same dudes kicking around over and over again. I mean, it's like, how many different ways could Ed Sheeran sing the same fucking song, you know?
Yeah, it was weird that I had never been introduced to Ichiran before.
Right, yeah, Ichiran. Isn't that how it showed up on the... What's the story guide? I think I was there when that happened.
That was my Venezuelan student.
Oh, okay.
And she was talking to me about music, and she was like, "I like Ichiran." And again, I thought this was Japanese, because Ichi being number one. Yeah. I was like, "Ichiran?" She's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Can you type that?" And so just anytime I hear that name, it's always Ichiran.
I like that story. No, I thought it had something to do with your former sister-in-law, but you're right. Now you tell the story, and now I remember it.
Yeah. And it's weird because, this is like what I was telling William about. It's like, so mainstream music is so... We've talked about this before. When you're in a corner, you go with what you know.
Right.
And so when you listen to mainstream music, it's tough because you're like, well, I hope you like pop with rap influence or rap with pop influence.
Right, yeah.
That's what you're getting.
Right, yeah. So, and really, that's about it. So, I don't know.
Because the guys, I will tell you, the dudes who are the grumpiest about this, there are dudes that do not like that rap is spilling into their country.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can see why dudes would not like that.
When you have like country with like dance beats, because they do.
Yeah, all right. So I am definitely not into country music, so I can't give you any kind of insight on that one.
There is some anger in that.
There's some anger in that. Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, these guys were at the very least rig adjacent.
Oh, I got you.
That had these strong feelings about modern country music. So there was a little bit of don't spill that ethnic music in
my Hank Williams.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I mean, all right. So I've known a few people who are way into country over the years. I mean, it was like anybody who was actually really into that. I mean, you almost immediately know it. So if it had like dance moves and things in it, now I don't.
Well, no, it's just not like, no, it's not. It's not like the music comes out there and they're trying to get you to do a right. It's not. It's not. Every one of these songs is not coming out with like their new achy breaky heart or whatever.
Okay.
Right. Or Tush Push or whatever. It's Do you know how to boot scoot boogie?
Boot scoot boogie.
No, it's just that there is basically a 4/4 dance beat behind country.
Yeah, the song.
Yeah. And so it takes on a very pop feel with just country vocals and a little bit of accent on top of it. And there's a lot of people that say you lose the whole, the whole ethos of country music when you do that, because I suppose you could make that argument, say again, not a connoisseur of this. This is the one type of music that's never really fully clicked with me outside of a couple of things, but
yeah, for me, just a couple of artists, and the rest of it is just basically woof. Turn the channel.
And normally it's. I'm so discriminatory about it too. It's just if it comes out, it's like turn this redneck
music. Yeah, get out there.
So I don't want to listen to this redneck changes. But yeah, I suppose you could take the same argument and say, but Jeff, if you took jazz and played that kind of dance beat under that, would that change the ethos of it too? Probably not so much that.
I don't know. Jazz has much more of a spectrum to it.
It does, and I think
like elements of jazz where that would probably be okay. So,
and I'm sure that there's an element of jazz that has stems from that and has evolved into that. But you wouldn't just take like a song like that and turn it into like a pop dance song,
right? Because
that would sound awful,
right?
Yeah.
No, I got you on that.
That, and I think that the purists of jazz would be far more offended.
There are definitely people in that camp out there. So, yeah, every now and then you run into someone who's like kind of fanatical about jazz, and it's like, don't take this the wrong way, but you get to that level, it kind of all sounds the same to me. So, I know you guys are making it up as you go too, but
you can't
say that. No, yeah.
Well, I hate to say that too, but it's the same thing with once you get to a certain level, basically, of metal guitar, it is all just
yeah.
Right, and I don't mean to pick on it. It's just like I'm not distinguishing that sounds like it's hard to do,
right,
but then again, I'm like, but so's diamond cutting, and I'm not gonna go to a concert to watch somebody.
So's calculus.
I'm not paying like $120 a ticket front row to watch you do math.
Yeah. No, I get that too. I don't know, man. So I grew out of my like rock phase a while ago, I guess. I don't know. There's still like a lot of oldies that I like to explore. And
You
stuff.
were on kind of a 50s, 60s kick for a while, yeah. 70s a little bit?
A little bit, but you know, you got to stick to the early part of the century or the decade, because otherwise it starts getting weird. So,
Like, is what's your cutoff there? Like Zeppelin or?
maybe Zepp. Like, yeah. I don't know. I know this is like sacrilege too, but I personally always thought they were a little bit overrated. You know?
Okay. I think they're a lot bit overrated.
Okay, all right.
Now, what I wasn't there for was I wasn't there listening to what was on the radio before bands like Zeppelin kicked in. So it could have been obnoxious, right? It could have been.
It might have been. Yeah.
Like, sometimes you need to. All right, let me put it this way. I know what I was listening to before Nirvana came in like 91.
Yeah.
Right? And if somebody jumped in and said and listened to this for the first time after the impact had already happened and duped all the way through, they might be like, "This is awful."
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's terrible.
It's like this doesn't have like the structure of like metal. It doesn't sound like rock really. It was like, well, yeah, it's alternative. I say, alternative to what?
Right, yeah.
Right? Like,
you have to have an alternative to be something alternative to.
and yeah, and what you want to say is like, well, like the Bangles and and Metallica. It's
And
like
Rush,
this is distinctly an uglier sound to kind of pull through. It's like, yeah, see, I was born in like 2010, so you know.
Yeah, exactly. They don't quite get it. You know.
So Zepp for me, like the problem is, for every song of theirs that I do kind of like,
Yeah.
they have one that I
don't get it.
I hate it so
Yeah.
much.
It's so much.
I hate it so much because it's just so,
Yeah.
like, it's that combination of that voice, and it's a combination of some like really repetitive elements
Over and
just-
over again. It's like this is going into its 7th minute here.
I know,
Yeah.
and yes, there is a part where it's like, yeah, it's about hobbits, so cool, but you know, that's also. I swear to God, after you're a minute into like Misty Mountain Hopping, I was like, I fucking hate this. Oh, you've been hearing this. You've been hearing this. Look at do 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 do. You know the song,
Yeah,
right?
everybody knows the
And
song.
all they do is they just keep adding a little layer onto that the
Yeah.
whole time. It's like, this isn't music. This is like,
this is terrible.
this is this is like what the government plays like in Iran to get them to release the hostages and shit. This is like,
So this is get no music yet.
I get it that there's a class of people that are just like, they just put their chair through the screen because they're like, you don't speak bad.
You don't speak, yeah.
You don't speak bad of Zepp. You don't even speak bad of Zepp's bad albums.
Zepp's bad albums, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple bands from that era that kind of fall in that category.
Who do you want to pick on?
Okay, I'm going to say it because I think she's going to one of their concerts this summer, but I have always despised Aerosmith. It's so, and so many people were so fucking into it. I remember back in the day, man. So, where everybody had that goddamn t-shirt. You know? I was like, all right, let me go check this out. And it's never, ever, ever clicked with me. So,
well,
it's never clicked with me. And so, I don't know, man.
all right. So I gave a lot of thought to Aerosmith because Aerosmith, the problem with them is that they leave and they keep coming back, right? And
Isn't he the guy who said he'd rather be dead than doing that when he was 40? Now he's in his 70s. Wasn't that him?
Yeah,
I think it was.
it wouldn't surprise me. But the thing about this is I hate Aerosmith songs because the first time you hear that it's catchy.
Yeah.
Okay? The first time that you hear that it's catchy. But once Aerosmith hits rotation, okay, the thing about Aerosmith songs is they're so fucking brain dead and they're so designed to like they get somebody, they get you with a hook.
Yeah.
But then you realize they've said the hook about 120 times per song.
Yeah.
You're like, because by the first time you get it, you're like, okay, all right, Love in an Elevator, I get it. Got it. Right. Yeah. And then you get to, like, Living on the Edge. How many times did you say Living on the Edge?
Living on the Edge, yeah.
About 120 times,
yeah.
Right? And all of those songs, I think, I'm trying to remember who said this, but it was a great analogy, is that they all sound like ragtime. They all sound like they all sound like 20s music, you know, and it's like some 1920s guy, you know, living in a movie, you know, it all has that sort of that. Yeah, I can't stand it. It bothers me just because it's like once it starts, like I know it. I've heard this.
I've heard it. I've heard it so many times now.
I've heard it 10 times over once the song is over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like, when some of the stuff in the early 90s started coming out, it did sound a shitload different than all that.
And that's when Aerosmith came back.
That is when they came back, yeah. Well, there were a couple bands that started coming back. That's when Metallica came back, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Well...
Was it like 96 or something like that?
Well, okay, so, I mean, you know, the Black Album is going to be, you know, earlier.
Oh, is that?
It was like 92, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I think you're right.
And then it's a couple of years before Load comes out.
I can't listen to them anymore either, man.
Have you gotten everything out of them?
I think I got everything I needed to get out of them by 2004, so I'm good.
And mind you guys, that was a while ago.
That was a while ago. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Well, I don't know. That's the thing is were you done with Metallica, or was Metallica done with you?
I think, yeah. They left me in port somewhere, and yeah.
Nice.
And after the ship had sailed, like, where did the ship go? Oh, well, it's nice here. I'll stay here.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, you did live in the Dominican Republic for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were pretty easy to locate on that island. It's like, which one is Pat?
Yeah, right. The guy who doesn't tan, he just gets redder. Yeah.
That dude over there, yeah. Y'all know about skin cancer? Yeah, it's like he's got them all.
I've got all of them.
Yeah, he's got all of them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That was kind of a different time there in the 90s with. Because that's when, like, you would watch Saturday Night Live to see the bands, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Because then that's when you'd get, like, oh, shit, this is great, yeah, you know?
It's a big deal.
And stuff like that. And then it was later on where, you know... well, it wasn't much later on when that show really started to suck. So, you know, and this is all before, like, Napster days, too, man. So...
And those were good days.
They were.
Don't get me wrong. The let me say this, all right, because it's not as though I didn't. It's not as though I didn't do my fair share of privateering when it came to musical acquisitions and borrowing from the Queen's Navy, but more so. I enjoyed it because there were a lot of songs that were incredibly rare or hard to find, that was like, oh, this is great. This is great. Being able to track down some things that just like you couldn't find anymore.
No. Well, I mean, unless you want to go to all the independent records. Yeah.
I had. I mean, I used to make the rounds at those places.
Did you?
Yeah. So... You know, we used to have this little place over here called the CD Warehouse.
I remember it.
You know, and I was in there every Wednesday, and, you know, I headed down to independent maybe once a month.
Yeah.
And then the independent annex.
Yeah.
Maybe once every, like, 3 months.
Yeah.
Just because I was...
Where's that one? Wasn't that one on Fillmore?
They're closed now, I think. I think one of them is still open.
The one downtown, I believe, is still open.
But I think it moved.
I think you did. Yeah.
Maybe it did. All right. Because look, I can't tell you because I haven't had to go to those places
No.
for quite some time.
Oh yeah, no. I don't think I've purchased a CD since about 2007. So
No, if I were doing that, it would because I was into vinyl, and I won't be.
No,
I can't.
I can't do that.
I can't be that guy.
No.
I can't walk that path.
No, man, it's not for you.
It's
Yeah.
because once you're a vinyl person,
You never go back.
it's like your face just doesn't look right without that mustache anymore, right? There's something different about you.
Yeah. Growing out the sideburns, huh?
Yep.
You know, I got it.
You're gonna be a vinyl guy.
You're gonna be a vinyl guy. There's a case study that I assigned where it actually talks about like vinyl coming back or something.
Okay,
It
yeah.
felt like when I give my students these cases, all right, I give them like a whole book of them. Well, not a whole book, but like 10 or 12 of them that they can pick from. All right, and one of them in this particular assignment is about vinyl. Okay, I have never had someone pick that case and not tell me that vinyl was going to come back.
Were they invested?
They don't pick that case unless they're invested in it.
All right.
So every time, invariably, every single semester, like I get 2 or 3 of them, and they're the exact same goddamn arguments over and over again. You know, and it's just like, you're that guy. You're not going to not be that guy ever.
What?
So, because everybody else is like, what is vinyl?
Well, and then you break through. It's like, well, it is the demonstrably most inconvenient way to listen to anything.
Right, yeah.
Right. They say, really? It's like, yeah. And look, they do make a point when they sit there and say, look, you can actually go down to the actual like wave files. You can go actually look at the individual information and say, look, here is vinyl being played. Here's the breakdown. You can see the waves. You can see the peaks and everything like this. And they can show you that versus a digital recording.
Yeah.
And they can say they are completely different.
Yeah.
So either I have really untrained ears,
Well, I know I do. So
or basically like the low and the high ends of my hearing have been blown the fuck out by by concerts and working next to like oil machinery.
jet aircraft. Yeah. So
'Cause I will tell you, there are plenty of times where I'm starting to wonder, like, how many times, especially like with students and stuff, I ask them to repeat themselves. I'm starting to wonder how much of that is me versus.
I'm getting there too, man. So I used to have really good hearing, and now like I constantly like my daughter will be just like, say that again,
Right.
you know, kind of thing. I don't know, man. See, even though I worked around jet aircraft for like 10 years, all right, I always was really good about wearing
You
my
wore the
gloves.
earmuffs,
I always
yeah?
wore my
Okay,
gloves.
yeah.
Yeah, always wore them. Because, you know, my dad warned me about that. He's like, yeah, you're going to be fucking deaf as a post if you're working around jet aircraft at this age. And I was like, okay. So, you know, and then I've had hearing like formal ones done. One of them not too long ago, and I did just fine. But I got to tell you, like the last 2 years, it's been like, what?
Yeah. And I've had the test done, and they say you're okay. But then there's a part of me like, all right, but if that's the case, then why is it that a lot of times I have to, if somebody says something, it sounds like they said something else entirely different. It's like, the fuck did you call me?
Right,
And then
exactly.
you're like, okay, now repeat that. And then I point my good ear at them. And
You got a good ear and a bad ear?
yeah, my right.
Oh, I
ear
didn't
is-
know that.
My right ear is better.
Oh.
And then it starts to make sense. So
Okay.
I'm starting to wonder is, look, I'll say this. I also have unfair expectations of grammar, diction, and enunciation.
Sure.
That much is true. But I don't feel like people speaking my language. Like, I shouldn't feel like these people are Martians or something sometimes.
Oh,
like,
man.
what are you saying? I don't.
Dude, there's this guy on the radio, on KRDO. So I listen to that in the afternoon because that's when Dave Ramsey's on.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And that's when I go pick up the kid and stuff like that.
Sure,
too. They've
yeah.
got this announcer on there who's from the South. And you know these guys sometimes, like, you know, like the urban South. He's probably from Atlanta or Houston or
Right.
something like that.
Right.
But he constantly mispronounces words. So, and I know so many people from that part of the country who do that. You know, just because it's like you either shorten a word or you add a syllable that doesn't need to be in there.
Right.
Or it's just not right. So, like, he had me in stitches the other day because he was talking about, what was it? He was talking about one of the basketball games. Who got booted out?
Oh, you'd have to ask.
Yeah, we'd have to ask the professional.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But
So,
somebody was booted.
Somebody was booted really early in the game and had a big effect on the game. And so he just kept saying over and over, he's got to be ashamed of himself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's weird because you're listening and it's like, he sounds really cheerful. You know, yeah, there's the... And we're not talking so ghetto where it's just kind of like, you know, don't talk about my churn like that, you know.
No.
No, you're talking about being sophisticated enough to where your mispronunciations are weird.
They are weird, yeah.
Or occasionally, I feel, because I transcribed something with this the other night, where they keep using a word and nobody has the decency to step in and say, that's not where that word goes.
What was the word?
Oh, what was it? But he said it no less than like 66 times, and it was completely inappropriate for the situation, and nobody would stop him. Like, this is going to air.
Right, yeah.
This is for television, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, because he was high up in law enforcement, right? It was just, this guy's talking out his ass. Because it wasn't just that. There were several words that were like, that is not what they mean. You keep saying this.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to correct you.
I don't think that word means what you think it means. Yes.
There's no I think. It was just straight up, look, Pat, it's me.
Yeah.
Right? I know this.
Yeah, of course.
Right? This is sort of my bag. But
Yeah.
I was like, your friends aren't doing. It's either your friends don't know,
Yeah.
or they don't have the guts
Right, they're afraid of you.
to say, like, sheriff, you're
Sheriff.
you got to stop saying
Yeah.
that. This is completely contextually
Right.
wrong.
Yeah.
And I try to remember because it's a classic case of one of those words that sounds like. I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
It doesn't mean what it sounds like it should mean.
no, and I
Yeah.
know I feel like I should be able to come up with 20 different examples right off the bat.
The one that you always used to give me was restive. So,
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah, it's supposed to, like, I had a restive weekend. So, and I thought, well, that means I had a chill weekend. No, that means that you were out, like, picnicking. You know? So- I always used to fuck that one up. So,
that's okay. That's unique. Who would?
I don't know. Handle up there.